Hey, Chael, Glenn Bell. I have a question about the refs. A number of years ago, DC didn't want a certain ref because of a previous experience with that ref. Just this year, DC didn't want a certain ref because of a previous experience with that referee. First DC being Daniel Cormier, second DC being Dominic Cruz. And of course, we had Aljamain rolling around on the floor while the referee said, "Do you want to fight?" And lastly, I heard Anthony Smith say sometime he asked himself, why do we have a referee in the god-d octagon in the first place? He said he's tired of these guys passing the buck and punting every problem they have, and that they should be confident enough to make the decision. And then when something happens, they look lost and they're looking ringside toward the commission. So with all this flack these refs are taking, I want to ask you, Chael, who would be on your referee Mount Rushmore? Whatever criteria you want to use, some things I think if they stop the guy from grabbing the cage so he can't be taken down, obviously not hitting a downed opponent, but even things like knowing exactly when to stop the fight to put a mouthpiece back in the mouth. Now, I would like to take 3 of the refs from either Bellator or the UFC, and then 1 wild card. 3 refs from Bellator, UFC, 1 wild card. This is the referee that maybe you had in elementary school, junior high school, or maybe even college. That referee you may have had that needs some shine, someone who did a good job. So from those places, if I'm driving through South Dakota and I look at Chael Sonnen's referee Mount Rushmore from Bellator and the UFC with 1 wild card, what faces would I see?
Glenn, I got to tell you, it is nice to hear your voice. It's nice to see you. You know, you are a fixture of this. Wherever your question, you keep asking questions, buddy. I'm going to keep on answering them, but I like where you went there because it's a little bit different. I also did not know that about DC. I don't remember that. I don't remember Daniel Cormier not wanting a referee. And I never knew how serious Dominic Cruz was, but I at least know the reference you're talking about. I will tell you, I was on a card. I was going to take on Nate Marquardt, co-main event, Randy Couture, my hero. We're in the same locker room, and Randy's going to be the main event against Mark Coleman. So a special night for me, right? It was a special night to get to be there and be in that situation with Randy, but also because I was in that locker room, I saw everything that unfolded. And it went all the way to Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta coming into the locker room trying to explain to Randy, we have nothing to do with the commission. We have nothing to do with who your referee is. We will share your concerns. And we will even make the request that you are asking us to get a new official. But so you fully understand this, Randy, this isn't us. We answer to these guys. So we will go in there correctly and we will make your request. But just so you understand, however this thing unfolds, you talking to us that we're the wrong guys. And it was that big. I mean, Lorenzo and Dana came in $5,000 suits. Man, these guys look like $1 million, and they were very serious because this was going to be their main event. So I bring that to you and it did not change. Randy's request was not granted. When you're referring to the referees, and I don't know if you've ever tried to referee anything. I have. Amateur wrestling. Many times, never wanted to do it. A lot of ways that those tournaments happen is the budget is so low. They will literally set up a tournament. Everybody will come. Everybody will be ready to wrestle. And then the tournament director, then and only then, when you're already in the building and ready to go and warmed up, will inform you we have no officials. Who here wants to officiate? And in the sport of wrestling, we will go all the way through our state championship that way, where somebody walks up. You don't have to be certified. You don't have to be a card-carrying member. You didn't have to take a class. You had to say, I'll referee the match. And you can now be in charge of a state championship that will be kept in the books, will qualify our national team, and can ultimately even reflect upon your college scholarship. Very big deal. And people can ref. Now, I say that to you because the first time I ever refed, I had never done it before. I had no training in it, and I was 11 years old. And I remember how bad I was because of how scared I was to make a call. Now, by the time that day was over and I got 18, 19 matches under me, I did a fine job. And by the time I came back, I would even say I was a good ref. But I am sharing with you that I had the experience of doing that and had everybody looking at you and everybody expecting something from you. And the referees that we have that are the best referees, and you asked me for my Mount Rushmore, all have one thing in common, which is without question, they are in charge. Period. Of course, Big John McCarthy, number one, leader of the pack. But for the reason I just stated, there is never a time John is in that octagon when you wonder who's the boss. Never. And you also, but that's a very good feeling. You don't want the referee making a bad call or a judgmental call or showing a bias against you or a favoritism. Even this slight, man, the slightest, you'll sense it, you'll see it, you'll pick up on it. When you have John in there, you're going to have a straight adjudication, period. So because of that reason, I put him up there, and I put Mark Goddard right up there too, and that's for things I see behind the scenes. And I realize as soon as I say, oh, I'm behind the scenes, I look like a jerk. I don't mean to say that, but where I come in to participate, I'm behind the scenes where the cameras are. Mark's the first one there. Mark's the last one to leave. Mark does not associate in any way with athletes or their coaches. You will get a hello, he's a human being, and that is it. You will get a stern look. He is not there to he is not there to be anybody's friend. He does not care in the least who gets their hand raised. He does care that the rules will be followed. And I see it. Herb Dean, many of those same qualities, but also the experience. And not to mention, Herb had some really go his way. I mean, he really did. The night of the world title, where Tim Sylvia's arm popped and nobody saw it and everybody thought it was a bad stoppage, Herb was right. And Tim's arm did break. Tim, to this day, has metal plate in his forearm because of that, but Herb saw it. So, I mean, that was a great catch by Herb Dean. The guy's a legend for many reasons, but that was a great catch that only a great referee who understood the position and was completely immersed in the moment would have caught. And you got Beltran, right? I mean, you gave me a Mount Rushmore. But you have Beltran for the same reason that I have to give it to John, which is you know who's in charge. Beltran is in charge, period. And that's a safe feeling, right? Even though that referee is never going to help you, it's as though he is. It's as though he is helping. If he's calling this thing straight, if he is taking control of that ring, if he is clearing people out, making sure that door's shut, are you ready? Are you ready? And he's in charge. It's a big deal. Because I don't know that any of the examples that you gave, Glenn, have anything to do with a referee not understanding the rules. But we will at times see referees that get weak. They're very, very weak in terms of what do I do in this moment. And some of those moments are unique to them. If you look at the Aljo Jan fight, that was a unique situation. And it appeared very much the referee just didn't know what to do. He didn't know what his parameters were to do. So if we're all learning in the moment, of course, you got to give respect to the referee. And ultimately, even if it took a minute, he got to the correct conclusion. But the mere fact that he had to bring in multiple people and talk about them, I mean, that's something you would never have to see with a Big John by example. Big John doesn't need to talk to you or you. He already got it figured out. Why does he have it figured out? Because he's the boss. The referee is in charge. And if there's ever a night where that's not perfectly clear, man, that guy can't go on the Mount Rushmore.